Goedenavond iedereen, welkom terug naar een andere aflevering van de THMGnation Roundtable. Dit is een multimedia platform om Hazmat response informatie en trainingtips van Hazmat-leden te brengen uit de hele wereld. Ik ben Bob Salvissen en ik zal optreden als gastheer van de show voor vanavond en ik ben samen met...
Yeah, and that is our illustrious and benevolent voiceover girl. She is doing it in freaky deaky Dutch. Very thankful for that. Let's go around the table. We have Bob Kosh, the illustrious and benevolent Mike Monaco, and Phil the Ambrose. His birthday is tomorrow. Everybody,
happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
They're not going to take away my birthday. So
no,
far.
Dude, you're the best looking 64-year-old I've ever seen. So, let's. What do we got tonight?
I'm just tickled pink that I don't have any technical difficulties tonight. Knock on wood.
It's so far still early.
It's early.
Well, we can do a couple of things. We can start with the 2-minute. Anybody have anything to just kind of bring up before we get into the 2-minute nuggets that we want to throw in there? Well, we can do a couple of things. We can start with. Sorry, that was mine.
Ooh, what was that?
I don't know. That was me. I might switch my background in the middle. So, Bob, do you have a 2-minute? I have a good 2-minute nugget. If anybody wants to, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of one of those things. I'm going to give props to one of our good friends and colleagues, Josh, who did basically a 2-minute nugget last night. And as soon as it was done, it was so simple and easy that I said, Josh, do you mind if I borrow this one? And he said, yeah. So I'm sure everybody has this M8 paper. Mike, did you ever see this one that Josh does? Very good.
No.
Everybody has this M8 paper, which was military grade H paper. But if you notice on this one, it is C8 paper, and they changed it to a commercial grade recently. Now, inside here, just a quick refresher. Where is it? There is chemical grades. Now there is let's see, the top one is a nerve agent, H, the middle one is a blister, and the bottom one is a nerve. Now there are cross sensitivities. So if you put something like brake fluid on this thing, it will give you a V or a nerve agent. But what was really kind of cool about this is that if you tear this stuff off, right, which we've all seen this stuff, and it is hydrophobic. So it is a very good indicator of oils versus waters. So if you take this stuff, which pretty much everybody's got somewhere in some way, oh, let's grab the pad, let's grab the water finding paste, whatever it is. This stuff is very handy to finding if there's water in a puddle. So if you don't know if there's water in a puddle versus fuel oil in a puddle, let's say we had a saddle tank that let go, this might be a nice, easy way for you to find out, because you dip it in there, it almost becomes translucent when oil is put on here, whether or not it's nerve agent or not. Now, I never knew this, and that was very handy information, because this is very easy for you to put in a little Ziploc and keep in your bunker gear and utilize it. I don't know if anyone else has heard this, but I thought that was mind-blowing. Anyway,
it's simple yet effective.
Yes, it's everywhere. I don't know. I mean, this is the military grade stuff, which is, well, it's not military grade because that was the M8 paper, but this is the C8, which is basically the commercial grade of the same thing, but it is hydrophobic. I didn't know that. Now I know that, and knowing is half the battle. Yo, Joe.
Doon.
There you go. A little G.I. Joe throwback there.
See, that's what you should have. You should have that star and the more you know background pop in.
Changing it right now. Thank you. Bob, you got a 2-minute nugget? Anybody else got one to throw in there?
Yeah. I'm going to do a little share screen real quick. So as everybody knows, I'm not on the main hazmat unit anymore, but I'm on a hazmat truck company. So with that, what just happened there? Did you do the sharing, Bobby?
All right. You know what? I'm going to turn your presenter.
Yeah, let me do it.
Okay. You have it.
All right. So what what everybody has is the ability, if this is going to work right. Hi.
Is this technical difficulty?
It did. It went. It's, you know what? It never fails.
No, you got it.
You got to lock Bob in place.
I don't want to.
That's awesome.
I think it's so much better. Like
You guys are killing me.
Bob's on.
Oh, great. Now we're awesome.
Me. Here we go.
Bye, Bob. I'm gonna miss you.
Oh, jeez. All right. You know what? We tried. Jesus. I spoke to you, didn't I?
Oh, that was just me going where you wanted me to go. Away. Oh, that's
Hey, there's somebody saying hi behind you, Phil.
Hey, Phil, what's going on behind you? You got somebody in the closet? That's good.
That's Lance, newly promoted to engineer.
Oh,
Hey, congratulations.
World domination.
yes. Mike,
That's awesome.
do for a little while. We'll come back to Bob. We'll work out his kinks.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I tested my system ahead of time, and my kinks weren't working, so I can't show you. I wanted to, but I will get it going. Maybe we'll do something for the podcast. So we had done an interesting drill the other day on propane, and the hazmat chief comes to hazmat 1 and says, "Hey guys, listen, I'm having kind of an issue. I want to get as much liquid out of a motor carrier propane tank as possible."
Yes.
Which a little, for those that don't remember, a little information on those, a lot of these motor carrier propane tanks will give you liquid, all right, because the engines feed off of liquid, but they also have a safety device in them where if too much liquid starts to come out, there's a little ball inside, it slams forward and you reduce down to about 10% of your capacity. So we're trying to figure out a way to overcome this liquid, this safety device, and we came across a couple of different things that may be interesting. Connect your propane device up to your burner, and instead of opening up your propane tank to full, just crack it open. And it seems that the act of just cracking it open and adjusting it slowly will get you to the point that you can almost put out 3 pounds per minute of liquid from one of those motor carrier tanks instead of just shutting down completely. And I also have video of a test that we did. The chief turned around and said, "Okay, well, I have a propane tank that now you cannot connect the burner to. It's leaking propane, but because the threads are screwed up or the valving is screwed up, you have no way of connecting the propane to it. What would we do?" So we showed him our barrel burn. We're basically taking an 85-gallon drum with the actively leaking propane tank. We open the spitter valve, or we shove in a little device that puts in the OPD, if I'm saying that right, and allow the liquid to come out. We flip it upside down into a drum, walk away, light up the vapors, and in a few minutes the whole thing is burnt off. So that's what I had, but my video sharing isn't working. So
I think there's a picture recently found of a firefighter Monaco standing in the background while such training was being conducted.
Possibly.
Anybody got another one that you want to throw in there before we get into the news?
I'll say it now if I can, because I talk too much. So this is quick blurb, but this is just shared from Todd Burton. We'll put it up on Hazmat Nation. I don't know if we'd mentioned it in the past, but I'll do this because this is a good share because he just put his own time and effort into this. Have you ever responded to a hazmat lab and couldn't figure out what they were making? Well, that got me fired up, and that's Todd, to try to prevent that in the future. I've compiled a whole lot of data through my training and experience with the help of some friends at the DEA and the FBI. So he made a lab ID app. Actually, he first started with a printed chart, which we have shared before on Hazmat Nation and trainings and conferences. And now he has turned those printed cards into an app, which the whole goal with this is to be able to easily identify what might be a drug lab / WMD lab / some other sort of clan lab. And I'm giving a plug because it's going to be a good training thing, and we'll get the info up. I know I've looked at some of the beta test versions of it, and I thought it was pretty good. And just throw it on your device and use it. That's what I have.
Himself to promote it.
Yeah, he should. The elusive.
We're gonna have to buy him a camera or something, I
Is
think.
he even on here? Yeah, it's like, does this Todd Burton even exist? Although I do know he said he put in for a class, I think a honey oil class at Baltimore. So hopefully that one gets selected because he's one of the best. That's what I had.
All right. I think I got this.
Go with
Uh-oh.
it.
Don't touch any buttons. Phil's already throwing his head back like, oh, crap. All right. Let's see what happens this time. Funny. All right. So we're talking about, can you guys see that?
There you
Word
go.
doc. And there it goes again.
No, wait.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh,
Did I fix
All
it?
right. You good or no?
make it big.
You got to hit present to everybody.
It should be presenting to everybody. It says I'm sharing the screen. All right. Never mind. Hey, all right. So here's the deal. We're talking
Do we have a little
about gas.
puppy dog with a wagging tail with the technical difficulty?
Bitch. So what we're talking about is gas clamps and gas bags, and what type of equipment you guys have in your gas bags. And one of the things that you can do is, and somebody's still sharing the screen. One of the things you can do is, there we go. One of the things you can do is, it looks like a Chinese finger clamp, and you can get these things from your gas company. And basically what it does is different sizes of the gas line. Once you cut it completely in half, you slide it over the end and it locks in place. And it's almost like a rodeo. Yep. I think Phil's pulling up the picture on his phone, possibly. There we go. Back up a little bit. There you go. Perfect. And it's a very cool tool. You can get them for free, usually from your gas company. Put it in your gas bag with the different size clamps. And another thing is, we have all these band clamps, and we usually throw them in a toolbox or a tool bag, and you don't know which size is which. Well, if you go to your gas company and you get the different sizes of the poly pipe, go ahead and put the band clamp on that pipe, so you already know what size you need right off the bat. You're not wasting time digging through that bag. So what we'll do is, after the show, and maybe tomorrow when I don't have technical difficulties like every other week, I'll email these to hazmatnation.com, and we'll put them on there. And then if you guys, anybody's got a gas bag, what do you keep in it? Go ahead and email it to, there you go.
It seems that OFD Fireman says it's called a permacert.
That would be, I think, Derek Shaman, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Wow, that's really close. Look at how big those tools.
Back up just a little bit, Phil.
They're huge.
There you go.
Not so big now. Okay.
So those are just some basic things. And if you got some tools for your hazmat gas leak bag kit, email it to Hazmat Nation. We'll show everybody's on there. Maybe people can pick some different ones and what they want to use or not. I obviously can't do it.
How low tech are we going to use a phone?
Jesus.
Oh. All right, let's get into
moving on.
Let's get into the first news article, which we can probably expand on because I went a little deeper into this one. Let's start right here. It's called. This is from the Rome Sentinel. This is from Rome, New York. An investigation began in a chlorine leak at a Rome water facility. The city's hazardous materials team responded to the scene to clean up a spill at the facility on the Stokes Lee Center Road in the town of Lee. In the first case, 2 workers were hospitalized for possible exposure to chlorine, but were released without health concerns. No one was harmed or hospitalized during the second leak. I didn't catch that in the first time. So there was a first leak and a second leak. According to the Public Works Commissioner, Frederick L. Schmidt, about 30 to 40 pounds of chlorine gas may have been lost, but he noticed we're not sure. Conditions inside the UV facility are going to be assessed, but there's damage there. For now, the city is chlorinating water at a plant without the use of UV filtering in the building. The city took water samples, blah, blah, blah. So basically, the places are right. They're not asking for a city water boil advisory or anything like that. Now, I went right to the horse.
Hey, Bobby. Click on you because it's showing me, and I'm going to start moving my lips so I sound like you.
Oh, all right. There you go. Is that better? Hello. Okay. So I went. There's a lot of pressure in that microphone.
There we go.
So I went and I just literally made a phone call to Rome, New York Fire Department, and I was able to get somebody on the phone, and they were very happy to talk to me. They didn't want their names mentioned, but they were very helpful to me, and they got approval, official approval. So what I found out is that there was a 150-pound cylinder that was in there that was leaking. They put the A kit on, the chlorine A kit, proper procedure, you know, like normal. And there's the Viton gasket that I guess goes around the bonnet. And the way it sounds to me, and I hope I'm not misquoting this, is that there was a leak of unknown cause out of that gasket. Now the gasket was applied. There was no leak. It was left there for an indefinite amount of time. And I guess it was supposed to be picked up or whatever. And during that time, it breached that gasket and it came out again. So they I don't know if they removed the entire A kit and put on a fresh A kit, or if they removed the gasket and then put the A kit back on. But either way, the second time there was no leak. So a couple of my questions that I threw out, and I said, well, the guys that were exposed were how is the decon performed? And they said that they were basically disrobed and then wet deconned because of respiratory ailments. They put them right away into the ambulance and transported them, which I think that's the way to go. I mean, you got respiratory issues. It's not time to start figuring out the problem. It's time to get them, you know,
To the hospital.
Yeah. You know, so, but what do you think about that? I mean, this is in my book, the Viton seal is like the pinnacle, right? I mean, I know they're not really, the Viton, we kind of hold off on Viton because, it is the best, but it also is very expensive.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah, what are those Viton gloves we have? What are they? $60 a pair?
Bucks a pair. So
Yeah.
we always tell the new guy, hey, go get me a couple of sets of those things. I need that to blow my nose or something like that. And when they see the bill for it, they go bonkers. But, you know, we usually use, you know, nitrile and butyl and these basic brands that are much cheaper for most of our things. Do you guys have any, you know, as far as this? I know we have a separate set of gaskets, right, Mike? We have we have gaskets for a couple of different cylinders. We've got them for ammonia. We have them for, I think it's sulfur dioxide, and we have them for chlorine. So we have 3 different gaskets depending on the actual product that we're dealing with. Right. And then we're supposed to switch out the bonnets as well. We're supposed to have different because I don't think the valving, the metals on the valving are a little different. Right.
You guys just carry the chlorine and the ammonia.
Chlorine and ammonia. So what, you have an A kit that's converted over to ammonia?
We have an A kit for ammonia, and then we have the A kit for chlorine. So the gaskets we have are just like you guys, 2 separate bags in each of those kits.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Bill?
Same, but I don't think not the sulfur dioxide.
Yeah, we don't have that one either.
Chlorine ammonium.
I don't know. Yeah, I thought, you know, I think we have another kit for not ethylene glycol. What's the most thing? Ethylene oxide. That's it. Ethylene oxide. We have a kit for that too, don't we?
We have the overpack cylinders for that, and we have the little ones for the new 10 years new. The little cylinders that they keep in the hospital. I don't think we have a specific A kit for the cylinders, but we might. We do.
OFD fireman is saying that sulfur dioxide gaskets too, and sulfur dioxide gasket is usually included in the A kit. The gray one is for sulfur dioxide. The black one is for chlorine. However, I think we also, in where we work, we have a green set. I don't hold me to that, but I'm not sure of it. We have some other weird, crazy.
We've got a couple different colors sitting in that box, and then we have we took out the heads for the different kits, and we put them all in the chlorine kit. So we've got the head for the ammonia, the head for the chlorine, and I think you can use the ammonia for the SO2.
Right. And our A kit that we converted over to ammonia is totally different. We don't have chains on it. We have threaded rod. So like
the new one, yeah.
The new one, which we completely created. I mean, we made that from nothing. It's the same thing you see on all these, but it's made for those propane tanks that we convert, that the meth heads convert over to ammonia.
Ammonia.
which is so huge here in the city.
What kind of surprises me about this story? You know what? You know what? It's probably easier if I just put this up. It's silly for me to just. I'm just going to put this up for right now, and so people can listen to talk about it, whatever they want to do. Is that? And we got this off of Hazmat Nation. That's the URL, and I could put that out there. But is that there was 2 leaks. You know what I'm saying? Like there was an initial leak that they came in to take care of. Why did it leak? You know,
the first time or the second time?
First time. Well, there was no leak the second time. The first time, this thing leaked because of operator error, right? And then they mitigated it. Rome came in there. They kicked some ass. They came in. They put the A kit on there. But what happened was there was a leak. So why was there a leak?
There's so much about this that we really don't know. We don't know the time frame. We don't know how, did they clamp it on, say they had a leak, then realize, clamp it on, confine it, then realize they had a leak? Did they come out and then get called back in? Was it from the actual gasket? I mean, you also have a whole valve assembly, packing nut, threads, the whole 9 yards. You got a whole nother one of those that you can deal with. So without really knowing where it came from, I mean, it's almost we could talk about the different potential spots that it could leak. Maybe it was put on just a little crooked, and over the course of a few minutes it slid and shifted.
You know what? And it's very easy to do that. They over tightened and then pierced the entire gasket with the metal bonnet.
Right.
And I'm not saying, there was operator error, but it could have been a dry rotted bonnet. It could have been a manufacturer's defect. It could have been an imperfection in the shoulder of the tank. There's a million. It could have been too much pressure, which probable, but you understand what I'm saying. There's a million things. I'm very curious. I hope the guys I asked them from Rome to please listen in and by all means chime in. But I don't know if they really are. But I would love to hear what really happened with it. I mean, it'd be interesting.
It would be a great learning experience. It's not often you get to actually play with those pressures.
Bob Lundgren says they could have completely forgotten the gasket in the first place, which I'll be honest with you,
100% true.
I've done it. If the thing comes,
it happens.
Dude, I'm in the suit and I'm not really looking around. I assume things are done and I put it on there and I'm like, why isn't it stopping? So it could have been off-seated. And you know how there's the gasket has that little bump sometimes for like the B kit. You know what I'm talking about? Like with this gasket, different. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? There could have been something stuck to the gasket that you just can't see when you're in a level A. You're between the face piece and the window, and then if you're in an older suit and you've got the double window, or multiple suits layers, there's so much that could go wrong.
Don't forget your putty knife to scrape around the edges to make sure all the paint's off.
That's tool D33. But you know what? Here's another thing. OFD fireman says that highly likely that the seal was off-seated by somebody moving the cylinder by grabbing the bonnet. And that's exactly how you grab it by the top and you kind of roll it. So any movement of that would offset that. And plus you're running around a triangle of chains and metal. It's by no means am I pointing my fingers at Rome. I'm just saying I'm very curious. I would love to have them on here, but
so what was the final outcome on how they stopped it?
It seems that they removed the A kit and then reapplied the A kit. That's what it sounds like happened. So it sounds like, I don't know if they replaced the gasket, replaced the entire bonnet assembly. I don't know.
Or I wonder if they had a casket standing by or some kind of whatever.
And more likely, Mike Kimura probably screwed the whole thing up in the first place.
Yeah, that's probably likely. Somehow he was involved.
Right? I mean, that's probably what happened.
He was there. It was over with.
It would make sense to me.
Yep. So that's that. Anybody got anything else on that one?
Nope. Best way
I actually was going to call New Zealand for the next story, but I think New Zealand's what, like, it's nighttime when it's daytime here, right? Basically, in the rest of the world.
Yeah, and it's cold when it's hot or something like that.
Yeah, it's somewhat whatever.
The toilet's flush in the other direction.
Everything. The firemen, the cops, the fine, whatever. Anyway, once again, hazmatnation.com. We have something from Napier Port in New Zealand. And this one actually caught me a couple of days ago before I even saw it come up on our radar. But let's see. The chemical is methyl ethyl ketone, better known as MEK, and also known as butanone. Butanone is a common solvent used in items such as whiteboard pens and in the manufacture of plastics. But in the port of Napier, communications advisor Brianna Cullen said that the chemical is flammable and is considered hazardous. Record-breaking stuff, Brianna. Thank you very much for that. 4 fire crews were called to the scene just after 10 a.m. their time, I'm assuming. And this afternoon, okay, so the leak did not pose a threat to marine life, staff, or ships. Methyl ethyl ketones.
MEK.
MEK. That stuff is badass, man. I remember I had a showroom in one of storefronts that I had, and we had to take like adhesive from the inside. They had that that stuff that you adhere to the inside of a storefront to kind of like knock down the, it's like window tinting, and we were taking it off. And we were using that stuff because that was the recommended solvent for this. I had to use SCBA.
Yeah.
It was.
It's great to clean with.
Stuff.
Wow.
I like to open it in a small closet.
I think that's called huffing. That's called huffing.
Apply it over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called huffing.
It's that and malathion. You can clean and you can kill all the bugs. It's what you get from the waste yard.
Wow. But this is, I want to, if I could belay this one, I want to push this one off a little bit. I would really like to call New Zealand and get a little more information and maybe get this back next week. If I could hook this around, and I don't mean this as a pun, but if I could boomerang this one around.
Well played. Well played.
Isn't that Australia? Isn't that Australia? I think you're pushing your geography just a little too far north.
He's going with it though.
All right. Well, I'm going to try to pull it. I'm going to call them. I'm going to see if I can find that fire department, and I'm going to call them. Or if any one of our people can get in touch with them, by all means, I'd really like to talk to them about that. Because that's a really super, not only toxic, but flammable. That's more flammable range, right? Off the top of my head, I really haven't looked it up, but that's much more in the flammable range, right?
Then what?
Then toxic. It is still toxic.
Oh, yeah.
Where ammonia is both flammable and toxic. This is one of those. It's more toxic than flammable kind of things. I think it is. I got to look it up. I'm sorry. I'm sure Todd Brunton's gonna be looking up in his NIOSH real quick.
He doesn't exist.
I got it.
He is NIOSH.
I got it right here. Forget it. I got it. Thanks, Google. So, all right. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. Well, anything else?
What time is it?
No, it's early. It's not early. It's really not.
Feels early.
9:40.
A lot of action-packed information.
It's a lot of stuff. We just blew it out. Well, all right. Anyway, that wraps up another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. Please be sure to go to our Facebook page at, the Hazmat Nation. I keep saying the Hazmat Nation. It's not. It's Hazmat Nation and the Hazmat Guys. Guys, let's go around the table and tell our friends where they can find us. Bob, we'll start with you because you're on the left. Where can we find you?
Probably taking some kind of technology class in the very near future. You can get me at hzmtlt@gmail.com or at bobkosh@hazsim.com.
All right. Mike Monaco.
You can find me on our weekly podcast at the Hazmat Guys. Go to hazmatguys.com or look at us through iTunes. You can reach out to me at Mike@the Hazmat Guys. You can find us on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, whatever everything is. Yeah, you can find us everywhere pretty much, and we're always here to answer tons of questions. Actually, we were talking to somebody from Turkey today, so yeah, we're reaching all over the place. Yes, something about an IED. Yeah, a guy named Hamas something. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you were stuffing.
Oh, boy.
Phil, what do you got?
Oh, well, right around the corner is the Florida Hazmat Symposium. And then the submittals just finished up for Baltimore. So it made me think the picture popped up of all of us at the bar I can't remember the name of.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, wow, that's not that far away, but that was a whole lot of fun. And then, of course, FDIC in April. Phil, and I owe some postings of the Todd Burton's app, which I'll get to. I'm at the station today, but I'll get to. And thanks again to Kevin Ryan, who's been putting up some awesome. I'm learning more about industrial fire than I never really realized. And I don't have one in my first den, but I drive past 3 of them, and I live near one of them. So I'm kind of stoked now. I can drive by and start to identify parts of. I just thought, because every Halloween, the big orange tank, they put eyes on it, and it's a big pumpkin. That's all I knew about that facility until now.
Yes.
I just want to, if I can, give a shout out real quick to Grant Collins from Lincoln Fire Rescue in Nebraska. I talked to him today, and he listens to the show and just can't say enough about it. So thank you very much for the compliments, and appreciate you guys listening.
All right. Well, that's good stuff. Well, I am Bobby Salison. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Hazmat Guys podcast. You can find us, like Mike said, on everything you get your podcast from. We're having, if you haven't checked it out, we snagged one of the biggest fish, I think, in the pond. That Dr. I was going to say Phil.
Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil. We got Dr. Dennis O'Neill, who is the guy that runs the entire United States Fire Administration. The guy is a fireman's fireman. That's all I could say. He is
Regular guy.
Just a regular dude. Come and listen to him on our podcast. You can check it out on iTunes and all that stuff. We have some really cool shit in the pipe. We got foam. We have, what was the one you were working on?
Hydrogen sulfide, propane, and pumps.
Yes. So a lot of stuff that's coming out that's going to be really applicable to what you guys do. But with that being said, we would like to, I would like to, on behalf of the Hazmat Guys Nation, wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. For those of you that celebrate it, if you're in another country, go have a good meal on Thursday at your local In-N-Out Burger or Checkers or whatever you go to, and enjoy your weekend. Good night.
Go pick some animal out of some
Be
live
safe.
market.